Kicking off Season 10 of the Red Zone. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Kevin Jackman on NCTV 17. The football team, 33-31 victors over Robert Morris in Week 1. We'll have Jeff Thorne on to talk about that game. We'll also have Tommy Sora and Austin Breunig on to talk about their performances in the Week 1 win. We have all that and more coming up next on the Red Zone.
The presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Welcome into the Red Zone and celebrating 10 seasons, and here with head coach of the football team, Jeff Thorne, and coach, 33-31, a win over Robert Morris. How big was the sigh of relief when Tyler Oakley knocked away that pass?
Pretty big. You know, we've been in that position several times over the past few seasons, and yeah, to see Tyler get his hand on that thing was pretty exciting. Same thing happened last year in the game with them. They made a huge comeback. They're a good football team, a lot of talented football players. They don't give up, give them credit. Coaches did a great job of making sure their kids stayed in the game. And when it's 26-3, you feel pretty good. And then all of a sudden, you know, we make a mistake on special teams, and all of a sudden things started to snowball a little bit. We had to work really hard to hang on to that win.
Last year, I remember you saying this was a team that you're not going to see a better, at least from a physical standpoint, a better team across the schedule. Similar sentiment this year, and you still came out with the win. You got to be happy being 1-0 at this point.
Absolutely. You know, I don't care how it looked. We're 1-0.
Yeah.
And our guys played their butts off. Like I said, it's a really good football team. A lot of very, very good athletes running around on the field for Robert Morris. They're going to win a lot of football games themselves this season. They won their conference last year. They were a playoff team, and they're ranked, you know, in the top 15 in NAIA. So we knew that we had a formidable opponent coming to Benedetti Worley on September 2nd. We knew that well in advance.
Looked like your linebackers, I want to start with them, looked like they were ready for this task. DJ Workenthien, 10 tackles. Tommy Sora, who's going to be on the program, another 8. They combined for, I think, 6 tackles for a loss. They're up against big guys on the offensive line, and they were getting their work in. Pretty impressive for you guys to watch? Not
surprised. Yeah, I mean, yes, impressive, but not surprised at all. Tommy's a preseason All-American. DJ statistically last year was fabulous. His production in a non-starting role. One of the reasons we moved Justin to safety was to get DJ on the field, and I think everybody saw why we needed to do that, and Justin did a great job at safety too. I think it was a good move.
We got to talk about that because Sturzman, I had a chance to talk to him last week after practice. He says, I can't wait to have a head of steam on me going down towards the line of scrimmage. We're not 2 yards off the line.
Right.
I'm 10 yards deep. He played fast, and he was always around the ball as if he was around the line of scrimmage to start.
Yeah, well, he's got a nose for the football, always has, and he's physically gifted with speed too. So we have him in a position where he can roam a little bit more and play more of the field than just in the box, and I think that's going to suit him really well.
He was joking after the game. He goes, there's a lot more running associated with this position.
I heard him say that.
Wasn't quite ready for it.
Yeah.
The cornerbacks were pressed into duty. 2 sophomores starting for the first time. How did they do?
I'm pretty pleased with getting the win. That's you know, an area that we came into the season knowing we need to find a couple of corners, having lost Brandon Kibbe and obviously Jeremy Nicholas. I thought Jelani did a great job. He was in great position several times, and their quarterback made great throws. Their receivers made great catches. Same thing on the other side with Zach. He's in position a couple times to make an interception. I think with that game of experience, you'll see a different player going forward where breaking on the ball and not being so concerned about getting beat will come into play a little bit more.
He's got the size of a Jeremy Nicholas, too, which is nice to have, this matchup against big guys. Defensive line, they had their work cut out for them. They were chasing Kenyatta Allen around the backfield all day. It was tough to land a hit, but when it mattered most, Billy Dowds came up. He made that big sack, but they were working the whole afternoon.
You know, it gives you an idea why Billy was tabbed as a preseason All-American as well. Huge play in a huge situation. We'll see it on the film, but yeah, they worked really hard. We made some mistakes. We made mistakes everywhere on the field. You know, when you go back and look at the film, you see how many mistakes we made, offense, defense, obviously special teams as well, that we can clean up. to be better the next time we play. The biggest amount of improvement is always game 1 to game 2. Robert Morris had played a game.
Yeah.
They had a game under their belt, and that's always an advantage in that situation. So again, all the more reason to feel really good about, I don't care how the wind looked.
Yeah.
We got to win.
Offensively, and we'll start with Austin Breunig, because that was the big spark, was the long touchdown pass, and then he also got a rushing touchdown. Boy, was he explosive in that ball game.
We've made some adjustments with a couple things in the run game, and Austin watches a ton of film. He's a really, really cerebral player, gifted with incredible speed. But I think Austin went all season last year until the last game of the year without a 100-yard rushing game. We just struggled. He went over 100 against Wheaton in the playoff game, and now he rips off a 127-yard game with another 94 yards in receiving. It was an absolutely terrific game for him. Great to see.
Yeah.
And I think it's a glimpse of what you're going to see from him the rest of the season.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the college football game, you build your team from the lines out.
Inside out.
And you guys have tremendous depth on the offensive line and a lot of experience. Have you noticed that this summer and leading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, we had all 5 starters came back. Now, one of our starters from last year battled an injury and was able to make it back for camp, but is not quite 100% yet in Randy Clark. But we started a freshman at left guard, Sharmore Clark, and he had arguably the best pancake block I've seen in 16 years coaching at North Central. So we're really excited about what he's going to be able to do, and a couple other young guys that I think are going to help us as well.
Wide receivers, we know Ryan Cool. He's the sure thing in that receiving core. But you had Kaminsky step up, Svikas was out there, a bunch of freshmen are out there as well. What was the assessment of that group in the first game?
And Corey Hardeman is back from injury. I thought we did some nice things. We're going to need to continue to develop some of the young guys. Kaminsky stepping up and playing the way he did and making a couple of great catches and just showing a lot of grit is pretty exciting. I think he's going to be special. Corey
Hardeman threw us through a loop. He changed to 22. We're like, who is this guy out there?
Yeah.
And then you started recognizing, who he was. But let's talk about Brock Rudder last. This is the leader of the offense, and he had a tremendous first half. Takeaways from his first game.
He can get better.
Yeah.
I know he knows that too. Having said that, he made some huge throws.
Yeah.
The throw to Austin for the touchdown was a great throw in, less than favorable conditions. The one mistake, as I mentioned, I think off camera, it was a miscommunication there. But Brock's a great leader, great competitor, and he knows. He's the first to admit that wasn't his best game, yet made a lot of great plays, allowing us to win. I don't think there's a better quarterback in Division III. We're blessed to have him, and big things are to come for him.
Rain kind of threw you guys through a loop, the whole game into a loop, kind of, with the slippery ball and stuff. Did you guys anticipate that coming in?
Not at all. No, not at all. I don't think Robert Morris probably planned on that either. So, it's difficult conditions, but it's difficult conditions for both teams.
We'll take a look at the tape when we come back. We're going to take a quick break. Check the tape is ahead. We'll be right back on the Red Zone. Welcome back to the Red Zone, a 33-31 win over Robert Morris, and now it's time to go back and check the tape.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by M&M Rentals.
Coach, first play I want to get to is Brock Rudder finding the new receiver, and it's a bullet pass to Andrew Kaminsky right down the middle in a deep zone pass.
Yeah, it's, Brock is pretty gifted. His vision is special. Our concept is to the right side of the screen there, and he sees pressure coming, knows he's got to get the ball out quick, and knows where we have a receiver going to a vacated zone. Tight window because he's got, a defender right in his hip pocket. Great throw and really a great catch by Andrew as well.
Defensive line. We talked about this in the first segment, Billy Dowds. And here's the play that we noted. Just look at him, so close to the ground.
Great job using his hands, swiping the offensive tackle's hands down and then just getting low, dipping and ripping and getting home. We needed that really bad. That was a huge play.
Last play I want to get to is the play that allowed you guys to survive what could have been a tie game. 2-point conversion after a massive 50-yard pass play. And it fooled our cameraman, but it didn't fool Jelani Hardy on the outside as Kenyatta Allen tried to stretch it to the goal line.
Fooled our edge rusher, too. So we had one guy left. It was Jelani. That's it. He's 156 pounds. But that doesn't measure how big his heart is. The kid is just a competitor, universally loved by his teammates and coaches. So I couldn't be happier and more proud of a young man than I am of Jelani. That was a huge play. Another big play was when we punted. Our last punt of the game, the snap bounced to our punter. And oftentimes those punters forget that knee down is dead ball. And he caught that thing without putting his knee down and was able to get the punt off.
I want to move on to Illinois Wesleyan and a shocking victory for them. We know the CCW is strong, but they took down UW Whitewater, who was coming into the season ranked 3.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to catch some of that game, and I mean, just for Wesleyan to pull out that win, that's huge for that Titan team.
Huge for their program, huge for our conference. Really excited about them getting that big win. They played excellent football, mistake-free football, played really well on defense, scored enough points and protected the football on offense. They've been a great program for a long, long time. It shouldn't be a shock. Normesh has been there for 20 years and has an incredible record. He's a great football coach. So I'm not surprised, and I'm really excited for what that's done for the visibility of the CCIW.
Now, we mentioned that in particular because it just so happens that Illinois Wesleyan is your next opponent as they visit Benedetti Worley Stadium, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. How tough of a test is that going to be to start your conference portion of the schedule against a team that just beat the 3rd-ranked team in the country?
It'll be a great test. We're looking forward to it. They've got one more game this week. They play Nebraska Wesleyan, so getting a week off this week is good. That was a really physical football game we just played against Robert Morris, as it was a year ago. So having a week off, the timing of it, I think, works out really well for us. But it's going to be a great test. We're looking forward to it.
Last year, you guys went to their place and recorded 6 interceptions. Probably can't expect the same level of production out of the secondary. But what do you guys? I know it's really early in the scouting process here, but what do you guys have to do to make sure you come out on top against the Titans?
Well, we can't play the way we did on Saturday. We can't turn the ball over 3 times and make the kind of mistakes that we made on special teams units. We've got to clean those things up. And Wesleyan's always good on special teams. So those are the areas that we're really focusing on. And then just executing our offense and defense as you have to do every week. But protecting the football and not making glaring mistakes on special teams will be critical.
You mentioned getting healthy. What else does the bye week help you do to prepare for Illinois Wesleyan the following week?
We'll just kind of take stock of where we're at, evaluate personnel again. We've got a game under our belt, and the scrimmage against Benedictine, we were able to play a JV game over the weekend, so we got to see our young kids play too, and reevaluating where we are and where our kids all fit in. That's kind of the magic of every season, is figuring out how is this puzzle going to fit together relative to seasons past. Every year is different, and the number one rule in coaching that I learned from my father is never ask an athlete to do something that they physically can't do. So you always have to be tweaking what you're doing on offense and defense to fit that year's team. And this bye week is a great opportunity for us to take a look at that.
Coach, thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win, and enjoy the bye week.
Okay, we will.
Coming up next, we have a couple of players joining me on set. We'll be back on the Red Zone.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
It's time for Season 10's first official play of the game. We have to go to the one that comes with the whole affair on the line. Robert Morris's Hail Mary. Leave it up to Tyler Oakley. Ranging back, the senior rejects the Golden Eagles of a come-from-behind win, instead handing North Central a 1-0 record. Oakley bats away the ball, but picks up the Red Zone's play of the game. Welcome back to the Red Zone. Tommy Sora, Austin Breunig are here, and guys, big win in the opening game. You had to breathe a giant sigh of relief when that one came to an end. We'll start with the defensive side. You were on the field when Tyler Oakley ranged back and knocked that one out of the air. What went through your mind when you saw that ball go up and you didn't know when or where it was going to come down?
So initially when the pass was made, just based on where our secondary was, we were actually behind the receiver. And that's not a spot where you want to be in a jump ball. And so, just to see Oakley come literally out of the side of my face mask view and knock that ball down, huge sigh of relief. I mean, that's a tremendous play for him. It's something that we expect for him to make, going on through the season. So.
Late game sequences, the defense came up with some critical plays that you can just pick out of the box score. Jelani Hardy on that 2-point conversion making that stop. Billy Dowds on that sack. DJ Worthing, you coming up with massive tackles. What does it say about the defense that you guys, in big moments like that, don't crumble under the pressure but step up and make that play?
I mean, that's kind of our motto. We always say bend but never break. No matter what happens in the game, you can only focus on the next play at hand, because whatever happened in the past is in the past. You can't go back and change that. So to have that mentality and for a group of guys to collectively buy into that, I think is huge. And that's just what makes our defense so special and allows us to come up and make those big plays even when things may not be going our way.
Yeah.
Even when there's long passes completed, drives are being extended for those sacks from Billy and DJ, and for example, the batted ball from Oakley. For us to bend, but not break and come up and make a huge play when the team needs it, I mean, that's just kind of the hallmark of our defense.
Pretty fired up on some of those plays. Austin, you started the game off with a bang. You ended it with a bang too. I mean, your whole stat line was just this big, robust, beautiful thing. Those offensive linemen, they were working hard in front of you, and I know we've talked in the past. You credit those guys a lot. What do you have to say about the work that they put in against Robert Morris?
It was unbelievable what they did. There was holes everywhere. There was a couple plays where I missed some holes, which kind of sucks seeing that. But I mean, they did a great job. We didn't have a good year last year, which was kind of cruddy. But I mean, they definitely improved a lot for this year, and it's started good. Experience
up and down that line, and then you have a freshman starting at left guard. But as a unit, have you noticed them as a more cohesive unit this season as opposed to last year?
Yeah, I'd say they're a very cohesive unit. The three seniors, they're all really good friends, and then the sophomore and the freshman, they all get along great. So I think they're a really cohesive unit, so that's great for them.
You ripped off a couple of big gainers that we just didn't see that last year a lot of times. You didn't have that wiggle room to shake free and get into that second level. When you did for the first time in this game, did you think, this is going to be a fun season?
Yeah, it felt good to get a couple of big runs in. For sure.
And then that receiving play, we got to go to that. You coming out of the backfield and Brockwater puts a perfect pass right in your breadbasket. At that moment, you saw the safety bearing down. What was going through your mind?
I just knew I had to make a miss. Luckily, I passed him, and he barely swiped by and got a hand on me, so it worked out good.
That's the speed coming into play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Defensively, let's go to your running mate to the left of you, DJ Worthing. There was a concerted effort to get him on the field this year because of how explosive he is. Sturzma goes back, he comes in, and in this first game, he's making play after play after play. How valuable is DJ to this defense?
I mean, there's really no real way to describe it. I mean, as we've seen from his previous seasons, no matter what position he comes in on, what package he's in on, he's productive. And at the end of the day, we have to look at how productive players are and how positively they can impact our team. And for him to come out there and actually get that starting role, we saw that productivity from glimpses, from in-game certain situation packages from in previous years to now a 4-quarter span. And it's just, I mean, it lights me up just to see him go out there and exceed, not I think his expectations, but then what are some of the expectations that other people have of, first true start, against a top 15 ranked NAIA team, at home, in the rain, just all those different, kind of factors that go into that. And it was just real exciting. It was, I enjoyed it watching him make those plays, especially as being, like you said, being the partner that's to the left of me. So
Tyler Oakley was listed as the nickelback. Justin Sturzma is a safety. But if you really look at the defense, there's 4 linebackers on the field at any given time. Speed and power. Do you feel like you guys you can capitalize on that ability to both combine those two attributes?
Absolutely. I mean, then that's kind of why our lineup is set up how it is with DJ and Justin, being at the positions that they're at, is that we all complement each other.
Yeah.
For what I may lack, DJ may be one of his strengths, and vice versa. And the same thing could be said for Oaks and Sturzma.
Offensively, Brock Rutter comes into this game, was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation last year as a freshman. As a sophomore, have you seen any difference in the way that he approaches the game?
No, I mean, he still prepares for every game like it's his first start ever. He's still doing the same things. He's an unbelievable athlete. He doesn't care that he won CCIW Player of the Year. He's still working as hard as he can to be the best player he can. You
go through practice every day with him. You've seen his development from day one to now. If there's an area where he's improved on, where would you say that would be?
I definitely think his leadership. With the Navy SEAL training, he really stuck out there. They threw him into a leadership role right away, so he's really developed into a good leader. Every play he's yelling at the offensive line, gets set. If someone makes a mistake, he's like fixing their mistake, telling them what to do and what not to do and everything. So I think his leadership's really developed.
Receiving core. Ryan Kuhl's the mainstay. He comes back as the big guy. But you guys got to figure out who's going where, and you have Corey Hardeman coming back. That's nice. What's the feeling around the team about where those receivers are and where they're going to be at season's end?
I think we have a lot of trust in our receiving core. A lot of the freshmen are getting playing time. They were over in Naperville for the summer doing 7-on-7, so they came in basically knowing the offense. So I think we have a lot of trust in them. They're very athletic, very gifted, so I think we have a lot of trust in them.
First game under the belt for the offense. You guys pretty encouraged by what you guys put out on the field?
Yeah, we definitely like what we saw. We can definitely improve, so I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but first game I'm pretty happy with how we played.
All right, guys, it's time for the quick hits. 3 fun questions, very little to do with football. First question is one that hopefully we have some entertaining answers with. Best dancer on the football team. You have a lot of options to choose from, but Tommy, we'll go to you first. Who's the best dancer?
Tyrone.
Tyrone?
Yep.
He's a big guy, too.
And he can move.
He's light on his feet?
He is, yes.
What songs usually get him moving?
Usually anything like hip-hop related. I mean, we've had a couple of our offense and defensive line, dance-offs during camp, and so it's always fun to, see those guys get in there and, just have fun, especially during camp when everything, may seem long days and practices and things like that. It really picks up the mood and gives everyone a good laugh.
We might have to get Tyrone on camera doing some of this. Austin, what about you?
I'd probably say Jalen Dennis. He's a freshman receiver. Every year we have like a freshman dance-off through the locker room, and he did a pretty good job. We had an end of the practice dance-off, and he killed another one. So
that's awesome. Second question for you guys. Different direction. We'll start with Austin on this one. Your favorite candy bar?
I'd definitely say Snickers.
Snickers. Nice. That's got a little bit of everything in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. It's great.
I got the Milky Way. That's my favorite one, but it's awfully close to the Snickers. How about you, Tommy?
I'm a Kit Kat guy.
Kit Kat. Yep. You need a break?
I do.
Yeah. Last one. Let's go to your favorite pump-up music before the game, before practice. What gets you all jacked up, Tommy?
I'm a big fan of rock and roll, so kind of like the older stuff like AC/DC, things like that. That's for me. That's my go-to.
Good Thunderstruck or something before a game?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Austin?
I'm on the opposite. I'm like hip-hop, like Gucci Mane, Kodak Black, guys like that.
Getting into the zone with the do you have like the headphones on?
No, just standard white Apple headphones.
Yeah? All right. Well, guys, congrats on the win. Thanks for swinging by. We appreciate it, and best of luck against Illinois Wesleyan.
Thank you very much.
Coming up next, we'll go down to the field. A correspondent for the Cardinals will take the mic and grill some of their teammates. We'll be back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
Hey guys, it's Tyrone Suggs Jr., the North Central College football team. Today about to give you total access of what it's like to be a Card on and off the field. All right, so I'm here with Amante Logan, star defensive tackle. And Amante, you're known for your aggressiveness on the field, but people don't know about your sensitive side. What's your favorite romantic film?
Romantic film. Loving basketball. Gotta be. The basketball scenes and how they just both come together, it touches me.
There you have it, folks. Monte Logan here. Monte, how excited are you for your senior year? You've been working your butt off for the last 3 years, and to see all of your accomplishments and to come this far, what's the number one thing that you want to go out with to end your football career?
100% the national title. This crew, this group of guys, and I consider my brothers, I do believe that we can accomplish that mission. And all it takes is practice.
Awesome, awesome. Final question. You're a popular guy, but who's your favorite person to hang out with on the weekends and, during the season and eat dinner with? Who's your favorite guy to hang out with?
All right, you see him tugging me. This Tyrone and Bill, T-Suggs and Bill. I spend most of my time with these dudes on and off the field. We watch film together. We chill together. And Peanut, a.k.a. Brock Rutter. DJ, I got to give a shout out to my boy Deej. But those guys, we always just surround ourselves around each other and just feed off each other energy day in and day out.
All right, guys, I'm here with the preseason All-American. That's right, Billy Dowds. Mr. Dowds, you are known as the sack machine. Can you give us a little insight on how you prepare yourself for a typical game, sack machine?
I prepare myself, listening to Hannah Montana, little Justin Bieber, throw it in there, but that's how I get myself ready.
Hey, everybody's got a boat, and that boat's got to float.
No, I need something different.
That was good. Mr. Dowds, you're known for your swag and prolific style. Can you please tell us how do you like to feel on game day, and take us through your favorite accessories to wear when you're repping out the Cardinals on game day?
Man, I love being swagged out. You got to have the white cleats going, you got to have the tights going, and you cannot have these janky knee braces on. That's what it is. You got to cut the knee braces.
I'm with that.
Offensive linemen have no swag, and when we come out without these, swag is on 100.
So, Mr. Dowds, your family's very known for their very popular demand for food after games. Can you please give us insight on what's your favorite cooking from your parents after a great W by the Cards?
Homemade mac and cheese. I like to keep it cheesy, keep it fun, keep it cool. That's my favorite meal after a game. And T-Suggs, invite T-Suggs over for a little extra. That's my favorite.
All right, guys, last but not least, I'm here with the freshman phenom. That's right, Odell Beckham. Jalen Dennis. Mr. Dennis, you are one of the most prettiest freshmen to ever come on campus. Can you please give us insight on the type of moisturizer that you use for this beautiful thing that we call your hair?
I just keep it simple, use conditioner. My mom gives it to me. Dap it in, little rubby dub.
Okay.
I'm looking smooth.
Awesome. And, since you're a freshman, you got your little first taste of a varsity game this past Saturday. What are you looking most forward to this season, and why is that?
I'm just looking forward to helping the seniors get to where they want to go. That's the biggest thing for me. And also just having fun with it, winning football games, competing, and just going out and kicking teams' butts.
That's awesome. And final question, Jalen. Why do you play this game, and who do you play it for?
I've been playing this game my whole life, so that's really why I've been playing this game. And who I play for is my mom and my family, and obviously my team, Cardinals. Really because I'm a very prideful person, and I carry pride a lot, and so I carry whatever I do it for other people.
Say no more, Mr. Dennis. That's it, guys, for the Cardinal Intake. I'm Tyrone Suggs Jr. Come check us out next Saturday. God bless.
Welcome back to the Red Zone. And 10 years, this is the first thing. Let's start with that, Clark. 10 years you've been on the show. We'll get to the feature next episode, but just as you sit here, 10 years.
Yeah, I initially thought it was a stopgap measure until you found something more compelling to do with this segment. And I guess the station can't afford a bear on a unicycle or something like that to entertain people for a few minutes. So I'm happy to fill in and do my thing and kind of provide whatever you guys need. That we aim to please here.
Well, it's always fun running down the slate because as much as I can study up on the teams, you are right there with all of them, and you talk to the coaches, and you kind of have that in-depth view. So let's get right to it. The men's cross-country team, national title defense, they come into the season ranked the #1 team, and they dominate this first weekend in not one but two meets. What's the feeling around that team?
It's a team that the focus really is making sure that they're healthy. and just getting to the point where you're doing the right things to make sure they're sharp for the day that they need to be, which is the national championship. And they've made some adjustments to the schedule to reflect that. They're going to go back to Principia again and run the course again later this season, which they initially hadn't planned to do. They feel like that's something that will prepare them better for that. So I think they're really just trying to make sure they take the right steps to get everybody through the process effectively. We definitely had some younger athletes at Elmhurst step forward and put themselves in position to possibly be in that top group at some point. That's going to be pretty fluid. So it's still very much process oriented. They're not really worried about results at this point, but certainly good to have the ones that they had because they were really promising.
Let's talk about the women's team because they were also at Elmhurst. They're coming off a second place finish in conference, and the way they looked in that opening meet, it's a pretty promising season, it looks like.
Really a very different looking team than last year. They, it was a big recruiting year for the coaching staff. It was an effective recruiting year, clearly. Our top runner, Madeline Scott, was actually at North Central last year, but didn't compete in cross country. She just competed in track and field and was one of the top distance runners. So not a surprise to see her up there in front, pushing the pace. But the other athletes that came in, their first collegiate competition, doing very, very well for this early in the year.
Women's golf has gotten off to a good start to their season. What is the feeling around that team? Because you never quite know at the start of the golf season.
Steve Stellers has taken over the women's program this year. He was the men's coach the last couple of years. Really takes a more analytical approach to taking a look at how individuals play and where they can improve. I think the team has really responded well to that. It's a young team. There's no seniors on it this year. But it seems to be a group that works well together and kind of complements each other well. I think they're really taking pretty well to a new style of coaching, and we'll have to see how the results bear that out.
Speaking of coaches that have gone from the men's team and now coach both teams, it's Kyle Exline as the head women's volleyball coach, and they have a couple of wins underneath their belt as well.
Yeah, they just got started on Tuesday, as you know, with Kyle, the men's program, he's a ball of fire. He's got all kinds of energy, and the women have really responded well to that. You can see it in practice. You can see it in how they interact at other team functions, and now you're seeing it on the court in match play. So it was a team that struggled the last couple of years. It's a lot of the same people who have been on that team, but they kind of feel like they've got a new lease on life, so to speak, and they're definitely taking advantage of it. And I think we're going to see a lot of improvement out of that group this year.
We'll see a lot of men's and women's soccer coming up at NCTV 17, but an early season look, let's say the men's team, what are they looking like?
Well, the good thing about their opener was they scored 3 goals.
There you go.
They've had issues putting the ball in the net the last few years, so to see that in the opener was good. They had an unfortunate bounce of the ball in their second game against Rose-Hulman that looked like it was headed for a scoreless tie. They're definitely being more aggressive. They've got personnel to do that. It's definitely a more athletic group than they've had the last few years. So there's a lot of potential there, but I think they're still kind of figuring out where all the pieces are going to go.
Women's team brings back, seems like a lot of veterans, a lot of people. It was a young team last year. Now they're young and experienced this year. Do they have a sense that they're going to be really competitive in conference this year?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces there right now, trying to figure out what personnel packages work and which ones don't at the different positions. So, it wasn't the result they wanted this past weekend. 2 losses to 2 pretty tough teams down in Texas. The heat certainly was a factor. It was approaching 100 degrees the whole time they were down there. They're not really used to that. But they've got about a week off before they get back into playing again. So the plan is to use that time to kind of further figure out, where everybody needs to go.
Yeah. Last team I want to get to is the triathlon team, and this is a home event, the qualifier here, and last year only 2 people finished. This year, 3 people finished, and Grace Miller's the mainstay. But, what is Jenny Garrison, how does she think about this team this year?
Over the moon. I think she's really impressed with how well they've taken to the training, which is pretty rigorous. Jenny was a highest level competitor in this sport, and she really trains them hard, and they've really responded to it. Grace and Jen Huffnagel, 2 of our 3 finishers, were on the team last year. Kate Canfield was our 3rd finisher. She was actually on the swimming team last year and has ventured into triathlon as well. just because she liked the atmosphere and she liked what they were doing. So now that since they've scored as a team in that meet, they have 5 individual spots for the national championships in November. So they don't have to worry about that anymore. They've got their first goal already accomplished after just one meet, and so now it's going to be a matter of just making sure they're prepared when that day comes on November 5th out in Arizona. But I think she's really, not only for how the team did, but for how the race went and for the process of growing the sport toward NCAA sponsorship, I think she really couldn't be happier at this point.
Let's talk a little football. 2 home games to start the season and against 2 really high caliber opponents. As the sports information director, who you may not have hands-on with the fan experience, but looking out of the press box and seeing the enthusiasm about this football team, especially these first 2 games, how exciting is that to have Robert Morris and Illinois Wesleyan come to town to open up the year? Well,
it was really encouraging when the rain hit in the first half and everybody didn't leave. So that was definitely a positive sign. It shows that people, they're huddled into the small, dark corners of the stadium so they can try and stay dry and still watch the game. So it was important enough to them to actually still watch it, which was good. So I think we definitely have seen the atmosphere throughout campus on game days. It's really kind of taken on a life of its own. This last 5-6 years, that's really kind of taken off, and we saw some more of that on Saturday. I think we'll see even more of that on the 16th, since all the students will be back on campus, and I think everybody will be a little more ready for it. It's always tough to do those before school starts, but I think we still had a great crowd for it, and they proved they were tough. So we're definitely happy to see that.
Let's hit you up with a quick hit as well. One of the ones that we asked one of the athletes, what's your favorite candy bar? Oh, goodness.
Oh, wow. That's a harder question than I thought it would be. My wife loves the Raisinets.
Okay.
So we always typically have those in the house.
Nice.
So that's typically the candy that I get.
All right.
I eat what the boss eats.
Clark, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.
Well, that'll do it for the Red Zone. We'll have a week off before returning after that Illinois Wesleyan game. It should be a good one. We'll have it right here on NCTV 17 to kick off at 6 o'clock. Until next time, I'm Kevin Jackman, and this has been the Red Zone.